When you buy 40 acres of land with your own money, you think that finally, you're free. Free from the nonsense. Free from the noise. Free from the micromanagement of nosy neighbors and cookie-cutter expectations. That's what I thought, anyway, when I bought my ranch just outside of town. I wanted peace. Space. A place to raise my horses and breathe the kind of air you don't get in subdivisions and cul-de-sacs. But apparently, freedom comes with fine print, especially if there's an HOA anywhere nearby. Let me back up. I bought my land fair and square. 40 acres, mostly flat, with a few hills and a stretch of old dirt road that led right into my property. That dirt road passed through a corner of a neighborhood managed by an HOA. Not even a fancy one, just your typical, rule-happy group of retirees who made it their mission to keep every lawn 3 inches tall and every mailbox painted the exact same shade of beige. Now, my access road had been used by ranchers for decades before any homes were built. It was an easement, legally protected, recorded in county maps, and as old as the soil itself. I used it for years without incident. Drove my truck through it. Hauled in hay. Even let the local kids ride their bikes across the road to get to the pond on the backside of my land. It was a shared, neighborly sort of setup. Nobody minded. Until the HOA got a new president. Her name was Linda. Sharp chin, sharper tongue, and an obsession with neighborhood safety. She didn't like my truck driving through her community. Claimed it was disturbing the peace. Said my ranch equipment made the street look bad. Never mind that I was only ever on that access road for a few minutes at a time. Then one day, without warning, I came home to find a steel gate bolted across the easement. A locked steel gate. I had no idea it was coming. No email. No letter. Just a cold, gray gate standing where open sky used to be. And a sign, freshly nailed to the post, that read, "Private road, HOA members only. No through traffic." I stared at that thing for 10 full minutes before I realized what had just happened. They had cut me off from my own land. My barn. My cattle. My entire livelihood was now blocked behind some smug metal fence put there by people who spent their days arguing about the color of garden gnomes. I called the HOA immediately. Linda answered, voice sweet as syrup. "Sorry, but we had complaints," she said. "We've decided to enforce stricter road access rules. For community safety." "For community safety?" I asked. "You realize you've illegally blocked off a legal easement?" She didn't care. She said, "If you want access, you can apply for a special usage permit through the HOA board. There's a $350 application fee." That's when I knew I was dealing with a different kind of war. Not one with fists or fire, but with pettiness, loopholes, and rules weaponized by people who mistake power for purpose. I wasn't going to play their game. But I wasn't going to sit back either. So I started reading. I pulled the county maps. Looked at the land plats. Traced every line, every deed, every footnote written in dusty legal ink. And that's when I noticed something. The HOA didn't actually own the easement. The land the road sat on? It was part of an old public utility easement, then marked for private access, but with one interesting clause. The homeowners were allowed to use the road for daily access, but I still held the legal right to modify and manage that strip of land for ranch-related infrastructure. In other words, I couldn't block them, but I could build on it. And I had just the idea. 2 weeks later, I filed plans with the county to construct a private toll gate. I listed it under agricultural infrastructure and marked it as a livestock traffic control barrier with a payment system for non-agricultural use. I hired a welder, installed a solar-powered keypad, and ran it all through a legal LLC I created called Prairie Passage Logistics. Next to the keypad, I placed a bright green sign. "Welcome to the Ranch Access Toll Gate. HOA members, $10 per vehicle residents with monthly pass, $50 emergency services, free friends, family, and livestock, free, just wave and smile. All proceeds go to Rural Road Maintenance Fund." Now, I couldn't block the road entirely, but I could legally control the flow for safety. Which meant every HOA member who wanted to use my easement now had to either punch in a code or pay a toll. The outrage came fast. The first email arrived before the paint even dried on the gate. "This is extortion." Linda called me personally. "You can't charge people to use a road." "Oh, but I can," I replied. "Your gate forced me to spend money on access control. And legally, I'm allowed to recoup those costs. But we're not paying it." "Fine," I said. "I guess you'll be finding a new way around." And they tried. For a few weeks, residents drove an extra mile out of the way to avoid the gate. Then came the complaints. HOA board meetings turned into shouting matches. Old men with coffee-stained polos started showing up at the gate with exact change in trembling hands. Someone even left a $10 bill taped to a garden rake, sliding it under the keypad like a bribe. But the real kicker? The toll fund started to grow. In just 3 months, I made enough money to fix the old bridge on the east side of my land. I patched up the gravel road, repainted my barn. And every month, I sent the HOA a neatly typed invoice with the total amount collected, labeled Community Contribution Statement. Linda was livid. She tried to sue me. Took it to the county board. But the judge took one look at the easement records and said, and I quote, "Ma'am, if you hadn't put up a gate first, none of this would have happened." Case dismissed. And guess what? The HOA took the original steel gate down quietly 2 weeks later, but I kept my toll booth up. Why? Because now it served a purpose. Kids who used to sneak through the neighborhood now stopped and waved. Neighbors I hadn't talked to in years started paying the toll just to show support. I even had a couple folks ask if I could put up a second gate at the other entrance to keep things fair. I became a local legend. The rancher who fought the HOA with a toll road. Some guy on TikTok even made a country rap song about it. My niece has it as her ringtone. I didn't start this fight, but I finished it. And I learned something valuable along the way. When someone tries to block you out, don't knock, build your own damn door. And if you're smart enough, charge admission. Because freedom ain't free. But apparently, in my neighborhood, it costs $10 a car.